burnout does not come from working too hard. It comes from not resting well. Here's 5 ways that I have rested over these last years, and this is how it has transformed my life. If you're listening to this right now, if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling stressed out, if you're feeling spread thin, if you feel like I'm not rested, like if you're feeling that, then this series that we're about to walk through for the next 5 episodes, this is for you.
Don't mind me.
Just a music.
I'm good at podcasts. I know what I'm doing.
Oh, man. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Radiant Podcast. Thanks for joining us. And today we are joined by a good friend of mine, Taylor, an amazing guy, coworker, husband, father. Like, you're an awesome guy. And typically how a lot of these podcasts have been recently are interviews of testimonies and stories of what God's doing. This episode is not that at all. We're not going to get to know Taylor. We're not going to talk to him about a story. No, not at all. We're actually going to be talking over the next few episodes, probably 5 or 6 episodes. We're going to talk about something that's really important in my heart, which is about resting well. There's probably 5 habits that I have picked up over these years through studying the Word, learning from others, talking with my wife and with friends about what they do. These 5 habits have transformed my life, and I have been in numerous conversations with people. I find that these 5 things keep coming up over and over and over again. And so I wanted to just kind of compile all my thoughts together and kind of walk through some of these habits. And Taylor's someone that I deeply admire and respect, and a friend of mine who I know actually puts into practice these habits. And so someone just to kind of come on, I'm going to share some things, you share how it works in your family. But yeah, that's kind of what we're going to be doing. So this episode is, we're not going to talk about those 5 habits in this one. We're going to talk about a little bit more of like the why behind the what, like what is rest? And kind of to start the idea here, and I'm going to look towards you now, is kind of start the idea is a lot of people that I've talked to recently, I was just talking with someone else before we turned the camera on. They were like, why are you talking about this right now? And I was like, well, I've probably had in the last few months as a pastor here at Radiant, probably about 20 different congregational meetings and some meetings with other staff members. Some of these meetings are crisis meetings. Some of them are just, basic, hey, I just need some help, advice on things. Some are people onboarding to our church for the first time. Some are meetings with people who have been here for many years, and congregants, volunteers, staff members. And, there's different problems that come up, and almost every problem has had some sort of root in the topic we're going to talk about, which is not resting well. And most of them don't even understand that actually is one of the main roots of the cause, the problem they're facing with feeling, the word I'm going to use is burnout. And the concept that I've, through studying and in my own, I would like to say I'm a barely recovering yikes. No, I'm a barely recovering workaholic. Sure. Yeah. Wow, that just kind of flowed right out. No,
what's in that cup?
Yeah, I'm not an alcoholic. Okay, so good. No, I'm a barely recovering workaholic. And so I am someone who is on the opposite extreme. I'm not someone who's like, yeah, guys, I'm just really good at resting and I know how to do this in my life. I'm like, no, I actually struggle with this deeply. And the Lord has spent years working in my own heart. And I've literally seen, as I've committed to these things, seen it transform my life, heal my life, give me a healthier and happier life, but not just me personally, me and my wife and my marriage and my kids as well. And so the core idea of this whole discussion that I want to have with you, Taylor, about this is, burnout, which, you could say burnout is feeling, frazzled, spread thin, stressed out. I'm so busy and I'm not feeling like I'm getting rest. And so burnout does not come from working too hard. It comes from not resting well. And you can work hard for a really long time, like work really hard for a long time if you rest well. And so typically when people start to feel burnout, and I've just recently had conversations with people where they were saying, I feel spread thin. I feel like we literally have used the word burned out. I feel like I just need to like stop doing things. And typically what they do is they stop doing things, but they're not addressing the root cause. And so when I had said the phrase, I'm a recovering workaholic, typically in recovery programs, they will teach you that you have to treat the disease and not the symptoms.
Yeah.
And so when someone who's feeling burnt out and they're feeling like I just need to stop doing things. I need to stop serving. I need to stop spending time with people. I need to stop, going to church or doing sports or whatever it might be. I need to stop doing things. That's treating the symptom and not the disease. Yeah. And so if you were to come to me and you're like, oh my gosh, I have like a fever and I've had a fever for like, months now and I'm shaking and cold. I'm like, well, here, just take this Tylenol and talk to you later. Like it would work for a little bit. Yeah. Like you might feel better for like an hour, but we didn't treat, like your body's triggering like, hey, something is wrong. And so when you're feeling that kind of like frazzled, that stressed out, that spread thin, that burnout, your body, the Lord is triggering like something inside of you to say something is not right. And we can't just say, oh, I guess I'll just stop doing this. Now, sometimes you do have to slow down. You have to get perspective. Like if you're just running like 100 miles an hour, and which no one can run 100 miles an hour. So let's say, how fast can you run actually? Do you know? Have you ever calculated that?
I have not. Maybe 15.
That's solid.
Pretty quick.
That's pretty quick.
I consider myself pretty quick.
That's a pretty quick guy, actually.
Probably not anywhere near 15, but
So if you're running 15 miles an hour and you're like, oh my gosh, my leg's hurting. You don't just like keep running at a full sprint while you're trying to figure out why your leg's hurting. You probably have to slow down.
Yeah.
But if you just slow down and you're like, well, I'll just run slower. It's like, well, but your legs still hurt. You need to figure out, like, is it your shoes? Is it like, did you not stretch enough? Did you not drink enough water? Like, what are the what's the root? Not just my leg hurts, So you do have to slow down. You have to get perspective. But if you don't change the rest, the part that actually is the problem, nothing's actually going to get better. So what's difficult is we want to try to keep these episodes short. And so that's like, I don't want to waste anyone's time. Like I want people to actually listen to this and be able to feel like they're getting what they need. So we're not going to have time to unpack work. Like I just said, you can work really hard if you rest well, but like, what does working hard mean? What does biblical work mean? So we don't have time to talk about, is your work good? Is your work bad? Are you working too hard? Are you not working hard enough? Like, are you working for the right reasons or finding your identity in your work in the wrong way? Is your work become an idol in your life? Like that is a whole other conversation. And in my opinion, does need to be looked at and does need to be addressed. But right now, we're just going to talk about rest. Yeah. And so, because honestly, it comes down to one of the most common reasons why people are feeling unhappy, unhealthy, and burnt out is they're not resting well. So, So we kind of have a few things that we're going to talk about. I want to talk about why do we need rest, talk about why do we resist rest, and the consequences that happen with not resting. I want to start with the creation story. Like it's almost like, okay, why do we need rest? Let's go all the way back to the beginning. And when we think about this, when you think about Genesis 1, this is kind of how I like to frame this when I'm talking with people is I'll ask you, Taylor, let's see what comes out of you. Right. You're currently in a house. Yes. You didn't build the house, right? Yeah. So someone else built it. Yeah. I wish. So I'd love to hear what you wish. If you had to build a house with no template, no restrictions, like it's just anything that you could think of, how would you build your house? What would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah.
How would I build oh my gosh. That's a great question. Boy, I think the number one thing that comes to mind is solid structure. I live in an old house, and the amount of stuff I continue to run into it.
Yeah.
Where I need to attach this thing to a wall. Oh, there are no studs behind this wall. Having something that's solid, that is reliable, that allows me to build upon it would be the number one thing.
Wow, that's so practical. So I asked a young, I would say I want to say young kid, but he was like an adult, but in my eyes, he was a young kid.
Sure.
And I was like, if you could build your dream house, what would it be? And he was like, oh man, I would love to be across the street from a Chick-fil-A. And I was like, that's the limit of your imagination. Like you could actually
that's not bad.
You could have a Chick-fil-A in your house.
I'd like to change my answer. I think I'd like to be across from a Chick-fil-A, maybe even a Raising Cane's.
Yeah. It's like you could have it in your home, but
who cares about structure,
man. Just to be across the street from
man.
So anyway, so when we think about it, so Genesis 1:1, God, he had no template, no design. When he created, it was infinite desire, whatever he wanted, an infinite God who had infinite desire. And so it was intricate, it was complex, it was creative, it was synergistic, it was infinite. There's so many, you could deep dive just different parts of creation and be like, there's way more than just a lion walking around. There is so much to what God had. He's not just a cookie cutter God. He didn't say, oh, I heard about these other planets that are created. I'll just follow that template. Yeah. So when he created man, it said, I want to, make him after our image. We were modeled after the image of God. So we are God's children. He has his spirit living inside of us as believers, and we share his desire and we share his creativity because we were modeled after that creative, infinite God. But the one thing we don't share in common with God is our body, our soul. It's finite, it's broken, it's not infinite like God is. So when you have that infinite desire, there's all of these things that you want to do and these ideas, and there's so much more that you could do in life, but you have a finite soul or a finite body, that equals restlessness. I can never you just keep trying. I keep needing to do more, but you can never actually do more because you don't have that type of body like God did. So God knew this when he created creation. And so he spent 6 days creating the most elaborate, intricate, beautiful, synergistic universe. But then on the 7th day, he showed us what it means to rest. So God didn't need to rest. He's infinite. He didn't he's like, woo, gotta chill out there. Those trees, man. That was a little toughy. He chose to rest because he wanted to model to his creation, to us, to man and woman, what it means to rest, because he wants us to partner with him, but we don't have the same capacity that he has. So we see that over and over when he says, and when he created and he says, it is good. So when he says it is good, it means that it was enough. He doesn't say, it's good enough, could have done a little bit better. I think I want to keep tweaking this. He's like, no, I created this and it was good. It's enough. And I can stop right here. And that's a really tough thing for I know that you have a huge history in creative work, film, and storytelling, and that's one of those things where it's you could be working on a video, you make a lot of the videos here. You could be working on a video, and it's when do you say
making the video
enough is enough?
Is easy. Stopping is unbelievably difficult. Yeah, there's always a little bit more, always a little bit more.
Yeah, and you can find that when you don't stop. When you can actually say, this is good enough. When you don't, it actually can start to, you move from a good product to actually it becomes distorted.
Not only does it make the process from that point on of continuing to make the thing stressful and anxiety ridden, but it detracts from the actual final product as well. The product itself deteriorates.
So one thing I found in that is it actually takes maturity. It actually takes discipline to be able to stop. Typically people would think, oh, if you know what you're doing, you can just keep going and do better. It's actually it takes someone who's mature and disciplined and secure in themselves and their identity to actually know when to say, this is enough. Like I should actually stop and rest right now.
Good.
So we see that first of all, just in the creation story. I mean, you start just Genesis 1:1. It's like the big thing right there. But that's not the only place. Like all throughout Scripture, God commands us. Doesn't just say, hey, it's a good idea. He's like, actually, like there's a command to rest in there. The way they do, Israel has their festivals, their agricultural seasons, their law, their identity. Rest is all
incorporated.
It's all throughout there because he knows it's not just chilling out. It's not just, I just worked really, really hard. I got to like just take a breath. Like there's actually something about, and we're going to talk about this. There's something about when you say this is enough and I'm going to trust in God for the rest. It's actually hard to rest.
Yes.
Like it's not easy to rest. Like it's not. Now, if you equate rest as I'm just going to like come home, like crack open a, drink and I'm going to just like chill out on the couch and just like watch something or play something, not talk to anybody and then just go back to the next day. Like it's actually like vegging out or just checking out is not rest. Now, you might feel like you're taking a break and you're taking a breather, but it's not intentional rest the way God designed it. So rest is not just a command, although that's what we've talked about so far. It's a command, but it's also a gift.
Yeah.
And God gave us and showed us the gift of rest. It's a time that we can heal. It's a time that we can refresh, and it's a time that we can like reconnect with each other. Do you have any thoughts on that before I kind of shift through?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think, and we're going to touch on this and stuff, but the difference between physical and heart rest, right? It's like you mentioned, like, I can be vegging out, watching a show, sitting down, not working, and you will get physical and maybe some mental rest and recoup a little bit, but when intentionality is brought into the equation, right? It's like, then you get heart rest. Then you get true rest for your soul, right? I think that's important. We can also, at some point, I'd love to bring it back to Chick-fil-A. Can we talk about Chick-fil-A?
I'd love to.
Sundays.
Oh, right. You don't mean like their menu? Like
no, let's do both.
Because I'd love to hear.
So let's talk about the spicy chicken.
I was thinking about the pimento cheese. Like, did you like that?
I'm not. I'm not a big pimento
It was a texture
guy.
thing. For
It's
me.
a texture thing for me too.
I don't mind pimento cheese, but it was a texture.
It's same. I like the taste. Not a big texture.
But we don't have to talk about that. We can.
No. Let's talk about Sundays for Chick-fil-A, which is a perfect example, right? You know how difficult, how much more money?
Oh my goodness,
Chick-fil-A would
from
make.
Me alone. The amount of times that Sunday tricks me.
And
I'm like, Chick-fil-A would be awesome right now.
They
literally have to say closed.
It is a slap in the face to all of us believers, where it's like we get out at 1 p.m. I'm starving, and Madeline, you want to go to Chick-fil-A? We still do it. We still do it. It's been
just
closed
wait in the drive-through. It's taking a while.
I'm not sure we're going that far, but we're close. No, but I mean, listen. Don't quote me on the numbers. This was a long time ago, but I remember reading an article about the revenue that Chick-fil-A brings in, which was multiples of in regards to like these other companies, Taco Bell, other like fast food chains and stuff. It was making an exponential amount more money, and with Sundays off. And just kind of thinking about that, I was like, man, there is a supernatural element and component to rest.
Well, and that's the thing. If you're like, you could deep dive this in Scripture. Like when I was talking about the agricultural seasons, the festivals, the law, the identity, like all of those things, God was setting apart his people, saying, you can do more in 6 days than if you did 7, if you trusted me.
If you trust me.
And that's just it was a foreign concept, like it doesn't make mathematical sense. Like if I actually do 7 days of input, I should get more 7 days of output. God's saying, no, do 6 days and you'll actually get more.
6 days with my blessing is better than 7
and
days.
We're not just, and we're definitely not talking, there is some of the actual like monetary physical blessing, but it's actually the reward, the growth, the like when you trust in the Lord, like there's something, the fruit of the Spirit that flourishes inside of you, as opposed to just like the fruitless toils unto exhaustion.
Anytime I walk into a Wendy's, I feel fruitless toil. Anytime I walk into a Chick-fil-A, it's nothing but my pleasure. It's nothing but good to see you, sir. It's nothing. I walk in and I feel light. And it's not
Yeah.
it's on a Saturday
Yeah,
typically, but
for sure.
I feel light as
Yeah.
a feather walking into Chick-fil-A.
I mean, when Jesus
manifestation.
Yeah, when Jesus said in Matthew 11, I think, I could be wrong. So when he says, "Come to me, all you are weary and heavy laden," and that word weary and burdened, that weariness is literally like working unto exhaustion. It's like just going until you can't go anymore. And it's that the outside weight, the burden. And when he says, "Take my yoke," it's not, hey, you don't have to work anymore. It's like, hey, the yoke is actually like the teaching or the authority or the perspective or the way of life. And Jesus is saying there's a different way to look at this. If you trust in me, if you work as I work, and if you labor as I, because he told us, there's so much scripture that we're not even going into where he actually says work unto the Lord. But when we work that tirelessly, fruitlessly, unto exhaustion, that's actually when like we start to get burned out.
Yeah.
It's not that we're working too much. It's how we're working. It's the perspective of our work, and it's also not resting.
Yeah.
But both of those things work together, because if you rested well, you'd have a right perspective of work. And if you had a right perspective of work, you would rest well.
Correct.
So why do we resist rest? So because I could literally just say, so everyone rest, and then cut, and then we move on, but everyone would be like, yeah, I want to rest.
Yeah.
Like I need rest.
Yeah.
But if I were to tell you, okay, here's 5 ways that I have rested over these last years, and this is how it has transformed my life, most people actually wouldn't be able to just jump into it right away. I had to wrestle through a ton of identity, through a ton of pride, a ton of fear, lack of trust. I had to actually make conscious decisions and surrendering of things in my life in order to rest.
Yeah.
But after seeing that over the years, the fruit and the reaping that I've gotten from that time, I'm like, oh, this was way worth it. Yeah. So I've found 3 reasons. Typically for me, again, recovering workaholic, is pride. So if God were to say, I want you to rest, or if I were to say to you, Taylor, hey Taylor, I think you need to rest, or let's just say you're going to tell me, Sean, you gotta rest. Yeah. Well, pride would be, I don't need to rest.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm better than that. Like I don't need a vacation. Like I'm not weak. Like I can work hard. We have a family value. We have family values. We have like a poster in our house that it has our values. Like, you cut us, this is what we bleed out. And one of them is we work hard. We're hard workers. I'm born and raised in Iowa. Like, I'm like, I do hard work, but we also rest well. Yeah. And sometimes you can take that hard work and it becomes like an identity idol piece. Yeah. Like, no, like this person, I don't need any of those like emotional days off. I don't need a mental day off. Like I can show up and I can grind. Yeah. But again, if I'm grinding unto exhaustion, like that's not good. So it's a pride thing. Yeah. Like actually I'm going to be humble and I'm going to say, I need a rest. Yeah. I think that the second one is insecurity. So a lot of people that I've talked to, they don't know how to do it. If I were to tell them, hey, one of the things we're going to talk about is like evening time with your kids or with your family. And I've been like, hey, how are you doing in this, and this? And they're like, oh, I don't even know where to begin. There's this, and like, well, you're a pastor, or I'm a worship leader. I can play instruments. So it's like, if I worship with my kids, like, well, of course you can just jump on a piano and play. And it's like, well, worship and discipleship with your family isn't just limited to like the few people that can play a piano and the few people that can like study the word. Like it's like, no, actually everybody can. There's not the few, like everybody can do this. And so there's that insecurity of I can't rest. I don't know how to rest. Or you flip it, their insecurity of I'm going to be judged if I rest. If I actually say, hey, like if I work in a place that, like, thankfully in our church, our organization, like we value rest, we value like a Sabbath, we value a day off. But people might be listening that actually don't work in that kind of environment, and it's like I've talked with many people, and they work 7 days a week because that's what their job is, and you're not a slave to that. Like some people will look at their life and be like, well, I can't do that because I work 7 days a week. And I want to be real gentle in this, but it's like, actually that job is not your
source.
That's not your authority.
Yeah.
Like that's not your source. Like you could get a different job. Like you could actually say, hey, I actually am going to work 6 days, not 7. And if you can't do it, well, that's a conversation you have to have with the Lord of what he's doing. You know, what is actually a priority? And if you are finding that, like, you know, if my wife and I were going through a crisis and the answer was marriage counseling, and I was like, well, I can't do marriage counseling because it's going to cost me, you know, money. And I'm like, okay, so is that, you know, X amount of money worth more than my marriage? I'm going to find a way. If I don't care about it, then I'll let my marriage end.
Yeah.
But if I do care about it, I'm going to find a way to get that money, you know? I think the third thing is fear. And that is actually, I think, the root of a lot of it, which is what's going to happen if I rest. So, you know, if I decide to not hustle and work 7 days a week, if I said, well, where's the money going to come from? Where's the benefits going to come from? You know, how am I going to get all my work done? How can I do 7 days of work in 6 days? You know, how can I do this if I'm resting? And so there's that pride, there's the insecurity, and there's the fear. And all of those things are real. They're valid.
Yes.
They're obstacles. They're things to talk about. There's things to wrestle through. I'm not saying like, that's just like, you know, don't even worry about it. It's like, no, it's real and it's valid, but it's also lies.
Yes.
Like there are lies from the enemy. God's not trying to trick you. Your boss isn't trying to trick you. Like the devil is trying to lie to you to get you not to rest. Because if he gets you not resting, then he can get you in an unhealthy, burnt out, lack of trust state. And that's from there, you're just sliding down a mudslide at that point. So,
and it's not, you know, those lies, individuals who have submitted to a Sabbath routine, or who are operating in this on a regular basis, are encounter and overcome and deal with those lies just as much as those who are not incorporating a Sabbath, right? It's like, I'm not perfect, right? Like our Sabbath, we have intention, we have things we want to do and all that, but it's like, I'm dealing with, but that same lie, you don't have to do that today. It's not worth it, right? It's not going to make a difference. And it's the accepting of, I have to make a choice every single week.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
What am I going to provide for my family? And what am I going to lead my family onto? And it takes time, just like a habit. It takes time to get used to that, to saying yes to that.
Yeah, you can't do it one time and try to judge the fruit of it. You can't, like, rest is a discipleship process that the Lord brings us on to look like him, talk like him, smell like him. Like it's not a do this one time and you're going to be, it's not a like a vaccine, just like, hey, just shoot one time and you're good to go. Yeah. It's like, no, actually this is like a workout. This is a process of redefining your identity, redefining your trust, redefining all sorts of things. And the thing that when you're talking about that, like, is this worth it or not? Like, you have to think, okay, so if you were to, you work out, I work out. If you were to go lift weights, the same muscle group. So if you were to just do biceps, just let's zero in on one muscle group, and you're like, all right, I'm going to do biceps every single day, 7 days a week. It's like, okay, well, when you work out, you tear muscles, like you actually do damage, and those actually have to heal in order to regrow and they get stronger, which is why, most people know this now because, there's like gyms everywhere. So it's like you do different muscle groups on different days because while you're working one, you are like resting and healing on another one. But if you continually do it, you might make little bits of progress, but you are working against your body not being able to heal. And so if you don't rest, you can never heal. And that's like really basic information. If I were to say you have to rest in order to heal, everyone's like, Duh, why are we listening to this podcast? Like it's in every single facet. So I just talked about like working out. Like one of the biggest things is that I learned when I was first working out is I was actually doing like more consistent, like everyday stuff. And when someone was like, actually do bigger stuff and rest in between, it changed everything for me because I was letting my body recover. If you have an injury, like if you have sprained your ankle, which I think you just like recently, didn't you like recently?
I did not.
Oh man, who was it? Someone was playing basketball and just
Jeremy.
Okay,
Jeremy
yeah,
was playing soccer.
Yeah. So another guy just straight up destroyed his ankle. He doesn't keep playing.
Yeah.
And he's just like, it'll work itself out. Like, you know what? It actually probably could. And it will be irreparably damaged,
yes.
you know? And so like you actually have to rest in order to heal. If you are like if you're a farmer, this makes total sense to you. I can't continue to do this thing on this plot of land over and over and over and over again without letting it rest.
Yeah.
I need it to actually recover so that the land can continue to bear healthy fruit. If you're cooking, you cook meat, you let it,
simmer.
Rest. Okay. Wow. I'll try another
I was
one.
just like a list. I was
You were just thinking of Chick-fil-A.
Still Chick-fil-A on the brain.
You
24/7.
put meat on the heat and you like let it cook and then you have to let it rest. If you cut right into it and you don't let it rest, it would be okay, but you let it rest and it's so much better. Equipment, if I had like a machine going, I can't just run it 24/7, 7 days a week and not expect it to eventually break down. It's good to shut things off every once in a while, like let it rest. If money, like I can't just continually spend money without stopping and letting money come back to me, Eventually you'll run out of money. It's even as simple as like pouring out this drink. Like if I were to just keep pouring, eventually I'm going to run out. We'll have to clean that up later, but if I stop and give myself time to pour back in, well, then I can continually pour out water. Okay. So if we don't rest, we don't heal. Basic information. So why don't we rest? We talked about that. Pride, insecurity, fear. So what happens if we let pride, if we let insecurity, if we let fear stop us from not resting and not healing? So that goes back to the very core idea that we dropped in the very beginning of this episode. Burnout does not come from working too hard. It comes from not resting well. So the direct result, the direct causation of not resting is burnout. It's not your job. It's not your boss. It's not your wife. It's not your husband. It's not how many kids you have. It's not the issues you have with your car, not getting enough money. It's not anything else. It's the direct cause is not resting well. All of those things can contribute.
Yes. But
if you're not resting, then you are in a deeply losing battle. So there's a quote, John Mark Comer, pastor, writer, he's done a ton of study and writing in this. And so he wrote this in a book, and in that book, there's a quote. It says, as a society, we are overworked, we're tired, we're stressed out, and we're frazzled. Just in general. Most people I'm going to pause the quote. Most people I'll be like, how you doing today? And they're like, man, busy, tired, didn't get enough sleep, whatever. Like it's ever like, no one's just like, no one's like, I feel great and rested.
It's rare.
Like it's rare. You're almost like, all right, what's wrong with you? And so as a society, we're overworked, we're frazzled. The digital age, the constant like just distraction, the constant overworkingness, it's hollowing at our soul. But burnout isn't always the result of giving too much, but it's trying to give something you don't have. If I continually try to pour out this cup, but there's nothing left to give, then I'm empty, I'm out, I'm burnt out. So to combat burnout, we don't work less, we rest well. We don't have to stop working. You might have to slow down for just a little bit to get some perspective, but you don't work less, you rest well. It's a command, It's a gift. It's a time of healing, refreshing, and reconnecting. So that's kind of this like opening little like, shot off the bow.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to be talking about. So like, if you are feeling burnt, if you're listening to this right now, and maybe Taylor, maybe you're one of them. So like, if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling stressed out, if you're feeling spread thin, if you feel like, I just feel like I just can't, like, I'm not rested. Like I feel that pride, that insecurity, that fear, all of that. If you're feeling that, then this series that we're about to walk through for the next 5 episodes, this is for you. So we're going to walk through 5 habits that have transformed my life, that have brought a healthier, happier life. It's very practical. These next 5 steps, I encourage you over these next 5 weeks, practical ways to build habits of rest. And so I encourage you, even as you are, processing through this and in the weeks to come of what we're going to be talking about, I would start to ask the Lord, okay, I want to say yes to this. I don't know how yet. I don't know where I'm at. What is something in my life that is stopping me from being able just to stop, to rest, to trust in the Lord? Where is it an insecurity? Is it pride? Is it fear? Just ask the Lord to reveal that to you. Just simply say, God, what is it? And if you just like take a second and listen, usually, most times, God will very kindly tell you what it is. So any closing thoughts, Taylor?
That's good. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to dive into the details and chat more.
Yeah.
More the merrier.
It's going to be great. Awesome. So thanks for joining us on this episode of the Radiant Podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Like I said, these next 5 weeks, we're going to be breaking down these habits, and we will see you on the next episode.